Let's continue the series of the 2025 free agent offensive guards for the Miami Dolphins. Again, critical because this may not be how I rank these guards overall, but this is going to reflect how I feel that they can fit into the existing scheme for the Dolphins while also seeing if they can help some of the shortages that we had in the 2024 version of the offensive line. And you're going to see on your screen that this is the current rankings that I have. You can feel free to go back and watch the videos for Trey Smith and Aaron Banks to see why they are ranked this way. And like I said in the last video, feel free to turn on notifications if you want to be updated as these videos come out in order, because some of these rankings may create questions if you're skipping over them. As a reminder, the play clips that we're going to look at are for short yardage run plays. So that's going to be 1 to 2 yard to go situations. And it's not going to be all good or all bad. I tried to pull the clips from that group of plays that I feel are relevant, and it's not going to be the same number of plays for every player. Teven Jenkins is a player that during my initial review of free agent offensive guards, I really liked, and I had him in my tier 1 options. But I also had Trey Smith as a tier 1 guard and Aaron Banks as one of my top tier 2 guards. And you can see that this review has already led to a slight change in that opinion. So let's take a look at the film for Teven Jenkins, and then we'll come back to this slide to see where we want to rank him. So first play here, Teven Jenkins is game number 76, your left guard here. And this is one of my favorite plays that we've looked at. So this is going to be outside zone to the left. And you're going to see that Jenkins does a good job on this 3 technique defensive tackle of right off the snap, first 2 steps, he is in a winning position with that head across, right? And from here, you basically got 2 options. Either you're going to wheel around and seal him to the inside, or continue to press upfield. And you can see that Jenkins gets that right hand into the chest of that defender and continues to press him upfield. And, by the time this play is over, we're looking at this defender, 5+ yards downfield. And the reason that I like this execution better than just cutting him off is that as you're creating that vertical push, now you are creating traffic for these other defenders to have to work through to get there. So, through the first 3 players that we've looked at, this is probably one of my favorite reps that we've seen. Next play here, Jenkins is facing you now. And we're going to get some outside zone to the left. A little more of a crack toss, I guess, but from a guard perspective, we're still looking at these same assignments as outside zone. So he is trying to get out to this 3 technique and to prevent him from getting to the outside. And you can see that he uses that, I think it's called a trap technique, right? Where he's swiping the hands down on that defender who is trying to get hands on him. And as he does that, he continues to work to the outside. You can see that he initially starts to try to flip the hips around and get into a seal position, but not able to really anchor down. So, some pretty decent athleticism there to be able to, still transition and be able to run with that defender and not give him that outside edge. Again, left guard facing you. More outside zone. So we'd like to see head to the outside here. The defender is slanting, but you can see that head doesn't get into a great position, right? So this really doesn't give the center the ability to take over that block. So not great execution off the snap there, but what I like on this play from Jenkins is that he continues to strain through the end of the play. And even though he's not able to cut that defender off, you can see that, he still end up on the ground. So if you're not going to, win in those first two steps and get that head across, then, I guess the next best thing is just to continue to run your feet and end up with that player on the ground. Again, left side here, so we got film against the Lions now. And now we're looking at more of a inside zone run here. So combination block here is going to be center and left guard through the nose and up through the linebacker. And then you have the combo on the backside there too. And we can see off the snap that nose is slanting away, so automatically that's going to be the center climbing to the linebacker, right? And now you can see that Jenkins is getting into that block, and I don't feel this is a great read by the running back, right? We should be eyes there. This guy's got outside leverage. I should be getting there, and basically this should have cut back the whole way. So even though it looks like this block is why it bounced, and in a perfect world you'd have more vertical push there. There also could have been the opportunity for that center to hang on a little longer before climbing. But in the end, we're still getting movement from Jenkins. He's not just getting, he's not getting stacked up to one side and then shed to the other. So I don't feel like this was a huge negative on Jenkins. Now we're getting some film against the Bears, so goal line, left guard, back to you. And now we're going to get him pulling, right? And, this isn't blowing up a defensive end or an outside linebacker. This is just a corner who is obviously not going to do a good job of taking on that block. But I still felt like this was a good one to include just to show, that short area athleticism to be able to get out there quickly and to be able to get a hold of a moving target there. So I still felt like this was a valuable clip to include for Teven Jenkins. Another goal line clip, this time against the Colts. And this is going to be essentially outside zone. All right, they're tossing it to DeAndre Swift out here. But assignment-wise, not a big fan of this play. It's a read option where we're not really blocking number 44 there. And this is basically a pitch the whole way. From Teven Jenkins' perspective, right? So now you have a 3 technique. There is no combo. You don't have any help. So you have to get to the outside right away. And he does that. Right? We're going to see as the ball snapped, right? He is in a winning position right now. But from there, you can see he gets tripped up a little bit. I feel like had he been a little better here, right, and been able to flip the hips around, then could have sealed him a little better than what he did and let Williams press that out a little further. So not the greatest of reps here. In the end, the idea is to not let that defender get to the outside, so he did accomplish that, but ending up on the ground and that defender being able to affect the play is, not ideal, obviously. And then last one I have here for Jenkins. So again, this is going to be outside zone to the right, and you can see that, he does a good job of getting into that, getting the head into that winning position that we keep talking about, right? He's not there from the beginning, but he works to get across. Now, would like to see more of, that first clip where he's able to create movement there, or able to be a little quicker. Not a big fan of the shuffle technique there, right? If you watch his steps, right, I would like to see him just turn and run where that left foot crosses all the way over, but you can see that it doesn't. It's more of a right, left, right shuffle before he runs. If he turns and runs, maybe he's in a better position there. But that type of technique thing that you don't know how he's being coached in that offensive line room. Um, but not a bad rep here. Tough ask as that guy is slanting away. I think he does a decent job of short area quickness to get the head across. Would just like to see a little more power pressing that vertical. All right, so that is going to bring us to the tough part of these conversations, and that's going to be, where do we rank this guy, right? So, looking at Teven Jenkins, there wasn't a lot of the inside zone and duo stuff that the Bears ran in those short yardage. We saw, maybe even a higher percentage of the outside zone stuff than we did with Aaron Banks. I think that scheme wise, that Teven Jenkins is a good fit in this offense. Um, and overall, I think that where I am going to end up putting Teven Jenkins is not quite on Aaron Banks level, but still didn't have those ugly losses that we did with Trey Smith. So I think I'm going to put Aaron Banks still at the top. Teven Jenkins is going to be my number two for the Dolphins offense, and that's going to bump Trey Smith to number three. As a reminder, right, these rankings are specifically for the Miami Dolphins, and we're not factoring in the projected contract, right? Pick an arbitrary number, $10 million. And if you told me that I could have any of these players for $10 million a year, this is the order that I would rank them in, not taking into account the player background or their current injury status. This is, if these guys are on the field and healthy, these are the guys that I feel best fit the Dolphins scheme.